Hello, everybody. It is Chris Hamilton here, and I am starting my monthly LinkedIn broadcast. I don't know if anyone's on yet or not. I just started this. One thing I thought I would do is I thought I would go through a blog post that I'm about to write. I'm going to give you guys the first version or the first way of seeing this. Now just bear with me for a sec as I kind of get prepped up here and everything. I just need to check a couple of things and make sure that my microphone and everything is working. And we got this, and let's go there, and let's go like that and save. There we go. Okie doke. So I'm back to the presentation right now. Just going to get a couple of different things going. Going to go live on Facebook Live as well. 3, 2, 1. And there we go. I'm on Facebook Live now. Going to go on Periscope as well. Hopefully I can be seen there. Just bear with me for a sec. And yep, I can be seen. Okay, I am back. So anyone who's watching me on Periscope Live, anyone who's watching me on YouTube Live, I have to kind of block you out because it gets too distracting for me to see what's going on. If you're on Facebook Live, I have actually included a link to watch this live on a landing page with a presentation, Periscope, and also Facebook Live. Neither of you are going to have the ability to watch the presentation unless you go to the link that I provided, and it's going to be on Facebook Live. Anyways, there we go. So I'm going to go in really quick before we even start this, about 5 minutes before we start. Thought I'd talk about a blog post that I'm going to do really quick here in the next couple of days. And this one, it just dawned on me when I was thinking about how do you market to your LinkedIn connections. So I'm going to show you how to download your LinkedIn contacts and then start doing some email marketing to them. So one of the first things that you do is go into the Me section on LinkedIn.com. That's along the top bar. When you click on that, you go down and you see Settings and Privacy. Click on that. What this is going to do, it's going to allow you to go down and download your data. So you have the ability to download your data directly from LinkedIn. And the neat thing about this is how you get your emails from your contacts on LinkedIn. So everyone on LinkedIn has to supply an email. Hold on, taking a drink. Anyways, everyone on LinkedIn has to provide an email address in order to get on LinkedIn. This is how you get at this stuff. Now, this is great because you can segment your LinkedIn connections and send emails to them. And I got an example later on here that I'll use, but just as an example, let's pretend you're a realtor in Calgary where I live. And you want to be able to target people that are in Calgary that are friends of yours or acquaintances of yours. One of the things you can do is you can go through the information that's given to you. I'll show you in a sec, and be able to get that data and do that. So anyways, you click download your data. When you go into download your data, you want what they call the works, and you request an archive. They are going to ask you for your password, so make sure you remember your LinkedIn password as well there. Then what's going to happen is an email is going to come, and it's going to tell you that, hey, your archive is ready. It'll give you a link. All you got to do is go back to that area where you requested the data download, and then what happens is you're going to be able to download your archive. When you're in there, what you want to look for is there's a CSV file that comes in. It's connections.csv, and that brings up an Excel spreadsheet. And in column D, you're going to see people's email addresses. So this is how you get the email addresses of your connections on LinkedIn. Now, here's how you segment this stuff. If you go into the search bar on LinkedIn and search for people, it's going to bring up people. And then there's a filter section that's up there. What I do is, let's say I'm looking for people in Calgary. I just apply my first level connections and Calgary, and the results will come back with all my first level connections in Calgary, so I can go through and see who those people are. Further segment this list if I want, put X's by it, sort, do whatever I want, tag them, whatever. Then what you want to do is follow up with people. What I say is you end up going into an email marketing program. One of the email marketing programs that I like that's really easy to use is something called MailChimp. My personal favorite is ActiveCampaign, but I'm not going to get into that today. When you go into MailChimp, sign up for an account, what you want to do is you click lists across the top, and it allows you to create a list. And when you create that list, you name it something that you want it to be. So in this case, I'm naming mine LinkedIn Connections. For all those that just joined on Facebook Live, Periscope, or else online on the Hangout, just so you understand, I'm going to get into the presentation here in a couple of seconds. I'm just running through some blog posts that I'm going to put up in the next few days, and just thought I'd give you guys a first glance at it. In this case, what you do is you fill in all this information, and then you can import your contacts. You can import them as a CSV file, which is like an Excel file, or you can copy and paste and put them in. And then, yeah, here's the way that you get to do that stuff. And just really quick on the tips and tricks on this one is, if you're going to send an email out to your connections, make sure that you start with a reason why you're reaching out to them. Include that you're also connected on LinkedIn. Tell them that they can unsubscribe. There's usually an unsubscribe button. Make sure you're providing value. And last but not least is also take a look and look at your country's spam laws. I'm in Canada, and our spam laws are really crazy. So you got to make sure you're not breaking any spam laws or anything like that. So that's the first presentation that I thought I'd do really quick. Hey, I'm on. Hey, everyone, I look like a pasty white ghost there. Anyways, I'm going to go and I'm going to share another one. So we're going to go into the presentation because it is the top of the hour. So just bear with me for a second here as I pull up my presentation. So in this presentation, I am going to, it's about half an hour long. I'm going to show you 5 ways to generate business on LinkedIn. It's, I do tell people it is very much like drinking from a fire hose. There's a lot of information that'll come in here. The nice thing is that if you're subscribed, you'll get a replay of this. You'll be able to see it. If anyone else is joining me via Facebook or Periscope or anything, just email me, chris@salestipaday.com, and I will be able to send you the link to the presentation where you can watch it over again as well. Anyone, by the way, on Facebook Live, I'm just going to check and see if anyone's on there. Oh, I got Jesse Bull. Hey, Jesse, how you doing? There is a link in the comments where you can see the presentation on a landing page that I've created on my website. Periscope, unfortunately, I don't have anything like that. Got to take a drink here. So one of the things I do, I say I walk the walk. And the reason I say that is that I'll give you an example. There's a company I used to work for that sold mergers and acquisition software. It was data rooms so that you could do your due diligence on a purchase or sale of a company. And I leveraged LinkedIn to generate a massive amount of sales for these guys. And literally, I would reach out. I'd be able to send 22 times more emails via LinkedIn. But based on connections that I made, I booked 10 times more meetings. I also generated 30 times more online demos. Now, to give you an understanding, I also did this at about half the time of the other reps in this company. So I wasn't quite 4-hour work weeking it, but I was absolutely cranking on this stuff. Now, here's the scoop. When I did this, the marketplace I was in Western Canada, the whole mergers and acquisitions marketplace was off almost 94%. So imagine going into an industry where you're off 94% and you've got to meet the quota from the prior year, plus some on top of it. So just to give you an example, I didn't hit 100% of my quota, but I was somewhere between like 70 and 80%. So think about this. You're off 94%, yet I was able to maintain 70 to 80% of the business that they had in the prior years. Goes to show that had the industry been working well at the time, I would have just cranked it right through the roof on this stuff and blown my numbers away. So there we go. So just wanted to show you, I know what I'm doing. Walking the walk, all that good stuff. Now, what I'm going to do is, hey, Len Miller, I see that you joined on Facebook Live. If you guys want, you can go to, there's a link in the top part that'll put you through to the presentation if you want to watch the full presentation on this. First thing I'm going to talk about is your profile on LinkedIn. I always talk about the fact that this is your billboard. This is how and who you present yourself to potential buyers, people that want to use you for business. And here's why it's important. So these stats come directly from LinkedIn. 50% of B2B buyers and 84% of C-level B2B buyers, business-to-business buyers, leverage LinkedIn to try to find a person that will meet their requirements for a product or a service. Half of these people will completely ignore your profile if it's not complete. Now, I'm going to skip over stats because they're always boring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the fact that here's ways that you can build your profile out to get way more views. So there's kind of 3 things on this slide that I want you to be aware of. And the first one is just by putting a picture on your profile, you get 11 times more views. Here, this little icon over here shows that someone has a premium account. Premium accounts get you 15 times more views on LinkedIn. Now, the other thing too, just remember this: no picture, you get 11 times more views, but you get 50% less views right off the bat if your profile is not filled out accurately. A couple other things: just by putting your education in, believe it or not, you'll get 10 times more views. By putting in your featured skills and endorsements, you get 13 times more views. Now, I'll give you a reason why here. I'll give you a real world example. So I own an accounts payable and accounts receivable company. Well, I'm one of the owners. There's a couple of us in it. Oftentimes I try to find people that are on QuickBooks and in different areas around the country and around the US. And when I go in and do a search on LinkedIn for people that have QuickBooks, I just search QuickBooks in a certain area. So for example, the Phoenix area, I've got a place down in Phoenix that I go to all the time. If I want to book meetings down there, I'll look up QuickBooks, Phoenix, and people's profiles show up. When I go through, I try to figure out where the heck they have anything that says QuickBooks. And believe it or not, a lot of the times it'll pop up in the featured skills and endorsement section. So I would put QuickBooks in there. Jesse, you're watching, I think, online. You know what I would do? I know your profile has QuickBooks all over it, but that's another thing you could put in there in one of your featured skills. Taking a quick drink. And here we go. So the other thing too, by putting in a putting in more than one job that you have, you get 12 times more views of your profile. So long story short, a complete profile generate up to 15 times more views for your profile. And the nice thing is LinkedIn makes it relatively easy for you. They guide you through this step. And if you spend 5 minutes a day, every day, just jumping on and doing this, you'll have a complete profile probably within a month or even less. One thing I do want to say to anyone who may be on the webcast, if you have any questions when I go through this, you can ask them down below. There's a chat down below. The other thing too is at the end, I'll have a question and answer so people can ask me questions as well. So what do you do? Once people get to your profile, give them a reason to contact you and how to contact you. Here's something that I found works really well. So typically your headline on your profile is your last job or your most recent job. It pulls it into here. And no one gives a but, you know what, if you are a financial advisor at, say, CIBC. You can change this by clicking this little icon up here, and you can change this information. So here's what I've done. I put in your small and medium business sales and marketing go-to person who can generate up to 10 times more sales leads. Ask me how. So here's, the market I work in, the small and medium business market. Here's who I am. Here's the results I get. And here's my strong call to action. Ask me how, or I could put contact me today or whatever it is, right? Now, down below, you've got your summary. So what you want to do is first line of your summary, put call me at and email me at, put your name and email in there. Why you want to do this is that this information gets pulled into your profile, your mobile profile, and it shows up right below the bottom part here. So you see down here, on this presentation. So just give me 1 sec. I just want to make sure we've got people on. Okay, there we go. This is a quick way for people to be able to find your contact information. Otherwise, they got to scroll all the way down, see if you've added your information, do a whole bunch of different things. So this is a great way for just getting people to contact you as well. Why you want to do this is literally about 70% plus of people connect, view LinkedIn on a mobile device, be it a tablet, be it an iPhone. This is more for the iPhone, so someone can use that phone right then and there to contact you and reach out to you. So that's valuable information. Make sure that you do that sort of stuff as well. Last but not least, so I'm going to go through tips. So this is the first section on about your profile. Tips: fill out your profile 100%. Right? Get found. 15 times more views in certain cases, up to 15 times more views. Think of your profile as a potential client would want to look at it, right? Don't do it all about you, like you're trying to find a job. Do it all about, here's how I help clients. Here's what my job is. Here's how I do this. Here's the results that I see. Put those in your experience section and also your summary section as well. The other thing too is use specific keywords. So Jesse, I keep pointing at you because I see you're on Facebook Live, and hopefully you're still there. What you would want to do is obviously put QuickBooks Online, QBO, anything like that to get you found by that sort of stuff. Look at your profile on a mobile phone and make the changes. And once again, give people multiple ways to contact you. One thing I would highly recommend, do not put your phone number up in this headline here. It breaches LinkedIn's terms and conditions and will get you potentially banned from LinkedIn. And if you've put a lot of time and effort in, so long story short, I joined LinkedIn 12 years ago. If my LinkedIn profile were to go dead tomorrow, that's 12 years flushed down the drain. You don't want to do that sort of stuff. So don't breach their terms and conditions. Another drink of coffee here. Okie doke. On to the second one. So you can sleep through my entire presentation if you want, but I got to wake you up for this section here. Tip 2, this is scaled down from a course that I actually teach, but I'm going to get it down to the bare essence to show people how to do this sort of stuff. So this is something that I call the digital referral. I would say it's not who you know, it's who you know and who they're connected to, right? So the nice thing about LinkedIn is that there is a lot of ways to make connections with people or get connected to people. So I'll give you an example. It's kind of small, a little Hubble vision here. But when I look up VP sales or vice president of sales in Calgary, where I live, I end up with 16 people that I'm connected to in my first level. When I add a second level, that goes to 294. That's an 18-fold increase. Now, here's what I do. I can use my first level connections to make introductions to my second level connections. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, make this screen a little bigger for you guys. In this case, if I want to get a hold of Byron Blair and get introduced, what I would do is I could connect, or I could click down here and it'll bring up all the connections that I'm connected to. So my buddy Craig Elias is connected here. I could use him. I could use Brett Stevens. I could probably use Jen. Might you be able to use Lori? Might be able to use Alex. So I've got multiple ways to make to get an introduction into this person. Now, here's what you want to do. Do not send a message through LinkedIn to ask for a introduction. And so that's the first one. Secondly, don't just say, hey, I'd like you to introduce me to Byron. You got to dumb this down and do it for people. So here's an email template that I use. It's, can you help me out? Hello, this is who I'd send to. So if I was sending it to my buddy Craig Elias, I'd say, hello, Craig, hope all is well. I hope you can help me out. Got this new product solution, whatever. I see that you know this person from this company, and I should have put in there, and you're connected to them on LinkedIn. My solutions helps companies with this sort of stuff and do the benefit that's in there. Do you know them well enough to introduce me? If so, here's an intro you can use. Create the subject line, introduction to Chris Hamilton. Hello, Byron. Friend of mine reached out, yada, yada. You can, you can't read it, but long story short is you dumb it down and you create the email for your connection to send to that person. And this works tremendously well. And I'll give you some reasons why. 76% of B2B buyers prefer to work with recommendations. Well, you're being recommended or referred into people as well. Word of Mouth Marketing Association says that only 11% of salespeople have a formalized referral process. Now, BNI, if you're part of Business Network International, they say it's only like 3% or 4%, I think. But I'm going to use 11% because, I'm an eternal optimist that all salespeople are awesome. The results are that, 65% of all sales are generated via LinkedIn. Or sorry, not via LinkedIn, via recommendations. Referrals or recommendations close at double the rate. So typical sales close about 25%. Referrals and recommendations close at about 50%. So right off the bat, you're doubling your sales ability. Referrals spend 14% more. They close in about a quarter of the time. So if your sales cycle is a month, then literally you're going to be able to close in about a week. And the reason being is because you're leveraging someone else's trust factor. So you don't have to build that up. When someone says, if Craig Elias says to someone in Byron, hey, Chris is a great guy, he's got this great solution. If Byron and him are buddies, he's going to go, you know what? Yeah, this is great. I will be more than happy to meet with this guy. By the way, when you do this process, if people come back to you, they're already pre-qualified. They're saying, yeah, I got this pain point. You got to help me with this thing. The other thing too that you find is you can book 2 to 4 times more meetings. So I'm going to go back to that slide that I originally had where I was booking like 10 times more meetings and 30 times more online demos. My numbers were staggeringly higher, right? But if you put all of this information together, if you're sitting around aggressively waiting for the phone to ring or cold calling, you know what? You're doing yourself a disservice. By doing this, it's a lot easier. By adding all these up, these factors, you've got about 120 times leverage off of cold calling or just waiting for leads to come in. The whole idea behind this is I realize you're not going to fire on all cylinders. But I'll tell you what, if you could quadruple 10x your business just by doing something like this, this is something that is, going to have a tremendous impact on your business. I use it every day. Like I get sales every day by doing stuff like this. I dedicate literally kind of 5 to 15 minutes a day to just reach out to people, say, hey, can you make an introduction? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I keeps my funnel full as well. The people that are viewing on the landing page, you don't see me. I'm animated. I'm waving my arms around and everything like that. So there we go. Just checking to see if anyone else has joined on my Facebook Live page. Nope, no questions there. Anyways, people, feel free to ask questions down below if any of this stuff begs any questions. So I'm going to show you my results. So my results, when I reach out to people, I get approximately 40% of the people will make an introduction to me. I get about a 50% engagement on that. So of those 40% that introduce me, about 50% come back in an email thread, a telephone call, or a face-to-face meeting. When you look at that, overall, it's about 20%. Cold calling, according to a study from Baylor University, and also LinkedIn references one from IBM, Baylor University says the cold calling success rate is about 0.3%. And that study, if you want to look online, it's called Has Cold Calling Gone Cold? It's a great little 5-page report, but it was done with like 6,000 plus realtors, and they tracked all these cold calls. The other one is 2%, which IBM says. So if I'm using this 20% overall with a 0.3%, my approach is generating 66 times more qualified leads coming in the sales funnel. So once again, if you weren't paying attention to anything in this presentation, hopefully you just watched those last 5 or 6 slides. This will dramatically increase your ability to generate business. Now, something I'm going to say just beforehand is I'm going to go through, and I'm actually I'm going to do a course probably in March that'll teach people how to do this. I'll get to it at the end of my presentation to show you that, but it's kind of it's a walkthrough that allows you to understand and get this step by step. So literally, I'm going to be doing a group coaching on this sort of process to help people out online as well. So there we go. There's the next two. The next two tips, kind of, they're in the same vein, but a little bit different. I'll explain why. So if people have a premium account, so I'm going to talk about premium account in mail. So for example, if someone has a premium account, how you tell is you got this little golden LinkedIn icon up here. So Peter here has a premium account. Now, what I can do is I can click on this little InMail here. So if you go to anyone's profile, you're going to see Connect or InMail. If you have a free account, every time you click on that, I'm in Canada, I believe it's $11. I think in the US, it's also $11 US. It's like 10, $11 bucks, something like that. Every time you want to send one of these in, Here's a way to get around that. Anyone with a premium account. So if you do a search on certain people in your target industry, they got a premium account, you can click InMail. What comes up is this little InMail message that you can send to people. What you're going to look for is down here. It's a little bit gray. You can't really see it that well, but it's this free message. Roughly 70 to 80% of people on LinkedIn that have a premium account have their account set up so that you can actually send them an InMail message. So if I were to send this to Peter, I would save myself, say, $10 if I had a free account. Now, the other thing I'm going to tell you about, I have a premium account, and I literally have no one ever reaching out to me on my premium account. I'm going to guess very few people actually do this or leverage this tip or trick. Now that you know this great little secret, let me show you something that you can do that is going to change a bunch of different things on how you can prospect to these people. So first thing you need to do is you do not contact this person and say, I got this fantastic thing that's going to save you gobs of cash, yada, 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 and I want to talk to you. What you want to do is you want to provide value for this person. So in this case, when you're providing value to someone, you need to think of stuff in their world. So I'll give you an example. So what I did with my target demographic I was going after about a year and a half ago, I was going after VPs of sales right across North America. So I had an assistant. She went through and she found all the people in the different areas across the major metropolitan centers in North America. And my assistant went through and sent an email. Now, what I did was I created a course on something called teachable.com. And Teachable, hold on, coffee drink. Teachable is a site that you can create a video presentation or a document or whatever. You can, if you have a video presentation, you can break it down and make it into a course and stuff like that. What I did was I created this quick little course for sales managers. It took me literally less than 2 hours to do. I've made 10 sections that show them how they can get their sales leads to start cranking it on LinkedIn, with their sales, leveraging LinkedIn. I put a $299 fee on it, and Teachable allows you to discount it to $0. So I wanted to show that there's value in this. My assistant went and reached out and said to these people, hey, most salespeople or most sales managers and VPs of sales struggle with their sales team on how to get them to, use LinkedIn. Here's a way that you can do it to get like 4 to 10 times more sales leads coming in the door and crush your numbers, yada, yada. Hopefully this is of interest. Here's the link. Feel free to go in. It's a $299 course, but I'm giving it to you for free. Hopefully this is of value to you. Now, once again, I go back, it's $11. My assistant was sending 10 to 30 these a day. If she was sending 30 days, 20 a month, I was getting over $6,000 in InMails going out the door every month. That's $6,000 plus of free marketing that I had going on into these people. Well, I shouldn't say free because my assistant cost me some money, but it took her only like half an hour a day to do this. So if you do it, half an hour a day, you can crank this sort of thing. The neat thing about this is when they sign up for Teachable, I get a notice saying this person signed up. When they signed up, I send them a message and say, hey, thanks for signing up. Would love to connect with you on LinkedIn, connect with them. Then I start that engagement process with these people as well. So here's the tips on this thing. Approach someone with something of value. You might have a white paper, you might be doing a webinar, you might have a blog article, you might have something. Give them something that is of value, right? The next thing, keep it short. And then track the people that you reached out to that have these premium accounts like Peter here. And the reason being is because you can send them messages over and over again. Now, what I wouldn't do is inundate them with messages, but once every kind of quarter, send something out of value to this person. And I'll tell you what, if you do that within a year, I say it's a year, it takes some time to nurture stuff. If someone sees something from you like 4 times and you pick up the phone and you're providing value, you call them and say, hey, Peter, hey, Chris Hamilton here. I sent you a few things over the last year, yada, yada, all that stuff, right? What's going to happen is Peter's going to be more open to talk to you than someone who hammers on him and says, hey, I got this great product, buy, buy, buy. So there you go. That's that one. Now here's the next one. This is group InMails. Group InMails is another way that you can reach out to people. So I'm picking on poor Peter again, right? So when I go to Peter's profile, down below, you're going to see highlights. And over on the right-hand side, you're going to see that you're connected in 2 mutual groups. I can click here and it'll bring up the group section. Or what I do is I go into the menu bar on LinkedIn, hit work, hit groups, and then it's going to bring up the group. Now, what I want to do is I noticed that with Peter, we're connected in the oil and gas industry, people and young oil and gas professionals, although Peter and I don't look that young. But anyways, what you do is you start typing in. Go to my groups, type it in, it'll start bringing up the group. So I'm going to click on, young oil and gas professionals. That comes up. And then what I do is down below, it shows you how many members are in here. Click on members. And then what comes up is it's the members page. So you get to see who the members are. Start typing Peter's name in here, and lo and behold, he comes up. Over here is a nice little icon of a mail, an envelope, right? Click on that. And here's what happens. You can send him a message. So same sort of thing. If I want to send a message out to someone and they're not a premium person, if I'm connected to them in a group, then I could craft the same sort of message that I showed you back here with this document and send this off to this person here and put it in. Now, you got to be careful. You can only get 15 of these a month, right? So choose wisely. Make sure that you choose wisely. Love my coffee first thing in the morning. So this thing, here's another way that you can do this, right? So by the way, you can join 50 groups on LinkedIn. And I would highly recommend if you're joining groups, don't join, if you're like, okay, so for example, if you're a bookkeeper, you don't necessarily join bookkeeping groups. Join the industry segments that you're going into. So like in Calgary, it'd be like a construction association or a restaurant association or a restaurant group or something like that. Pick the groups that you target and you're in. Now, here's one that I look at, right? So this person here is asking about Peachtree and Sage accounting classes on Long Island. Now, if I happen to give Sage or Peachtree lessons on the Long Island, what I would do is I would remember her name or copy her name, go over here, go into the Bookkeeper Club where we're members, click on members, start typing her name in. There we go. And bingo, click here, and then send them a message and say, hey, RC or RC or whatever your name is. Hey, I actually saw your post here on the group. Just to let you know, I do this. Here's a link to some of our courses. Would you like to jump on a phone call so I could see if there's any way that I might be able to help you out, right? I would do that through the message section here as opposed to through the board and answering that question directly in here. This one's more personalized and you got way more value coming in the door. So there you go. Last but not least, we're getting close here. I got a couple more things that I'm going to talk to you about here as well. And this one is just a way to keep in front of people on a consistent basis that people don't see. And one of the things that I find in LinkedIn, depending on how many connections you have, oftentimes people are like a one and done. I get people connected to me all the time. I just accept everyone usually. But I never hear from them again. I hear nothing from them, right? So here's a way that you can keep in contact with people. So when you go into notifications on a daily basis, it's going to tell you if anyone has a birthday, starting a new position, or they have a work anniversary. So someone's sending you or you want to send somebody a happy birthday. Here's a trick that I do. I actually go onto my mobile phone, go into notifications and use it there. And then what happens is when you click on this, it says, see who's celebrating. And I don't show you on a mobile, but just trust me on this one. People's names come up, right? So then what you do is it clicks up and it says happy birthday. And if you have your phone, I have an iPhone, so it's set up and it's got all those little emojis. And there's like 5 emojis you can hit, and it's got like a present and like confetti going off and cake and da-da-da-da and all that stuff. I just click that 5 times and then hit send. So my message gets noticed by this person. So that's one of the things that I do there. Now, here's another thing. This one, when someone's starting a new position or they're doing a work anniversary, here's the great thing. Add a personalized message. You know, this one in this case is congrats on the new job. Let me know who is an ideal client, who an ideal client is and what you do so I can keep my eyes open for you. Hey, I'm providing value right out the gate for people. So there you go. That's like huge opportunity for you as well. Hey, I got one more for you, and I'm going to come back to this in a second, but I want to go through, I'm providing value left, right, and center. In order for me to do this sort of stuff, I have to be able to put an offer out just so I can keep myself going with the things that I'm doing. This offer, and by the way, you want to stay for this last one that I want to show you right here because it's so cool. But I got to get you hooked in on the offer first and see if you're interested. So once again, I created a teachable course. I have a membership site that has 8 ton of information in it. I have so many courses in here. I've got webinar replays. I'm putting monthly content up on a consistent basis. There is almost 40 hours of content that's listed in this membership site. Everything LinkedIn. It's not even LinkedIn. Actually, there's a whole bunch of marketing stuff that's in there as well. One of the things, if you get this course, you're going to get tons of LinkedIn tips and tricks to land qualified meetings and show you how to do this stuff. I've got stuff that I've charged like thousands of dollars to corporations to learn how to do. And it's all in this. And when you see the price of this, you'll be like, how can Chris offer it for so little? I'm joking. I'm a sales guy at heart here. I'm going to show you the best ways to generate leads from LinkedIn. I'm going to show you how to get found by B2B buyers, show you how to get 15 times more sales leads from qualified prospects, and much, much more just on leveraging LinkedIn. Here's the scoop. Any courses and books that I create or any content I create in the future, and I've got some content that's gated that no one ever gets to see, you're going to see on here. This is on a monthly basis. It's $39 US, but because you sat through this, you're going to get this for $19 should you take me up on this offer. $19 to learn what I learned in the last 12 years on LinkedIn, to shortcut. I have literally sold millions of dollars on LinkedIn using some of the stuff that you'll learn in this course or in these courses that are on my Teachable course. The current value of this says $800. Actually, it's closer to $1,500. I haven't updated this slide lately, but there's about $1,500 worth of content in here. One of the things I always tell people is, you know what? If I could show you how to get 10 new qualified meetings or engagements a week, you get 50% into a funnel with 30% close, you're getting like 78 more sales a year, right? Now, for some people, that might be kind of on the light side. For other people, that may be like, wow, this is great. It's going to help me out, right? Any additional sale helps you out as well. I have a 30-day money-back guarantee on this, and as a monthly subscriber, you can quit at any single time. Here's something that I always say to someone. The average sales rep, and I'm in Canada, it makes $30 an hour. This thing is $19 right now. It's roughly the exchange rate. That's US. It's about $24, right? This is a little wrong. Let me change that. I'll just say the first 50 minutes. So if you work 50 minutes, the first 50 minutes that you do in the month, this thing's paid for, and you will more than make up for it with the amount that you can get. So if you want to take a look at this, you can go to bit.ly/LinkedIn membership site. I'm going to leave this up for a second. I don't want people to leave. And the reason why I don't want you to leave is because I'm going to go back to this crazy tip that I'm going to show you that also, this will ramp up your sales opportunities in LinkedIn. So there you go. It is bit.ly/LinkedIn_membership_site. We'll get it there. Anyone who signed up for the webinar, you'll also get a link for this as well. The other offer I'm going to do, so this is something that's floating around my head right now. I'm going to do a group coaching on the digital referral. Don't hit this link right now. I haven't updated it, and it'll be for an older course. But this LinkedIn, I don't think I'm going to do it in 4 weeks. In fact, I'm going to go through it in one day, probably 1 hour to 2 hour session, because I can do it that fast. I'm going to walk you through the process that I have that'll show you how to generate more sales leads. It's got 100% money back guarantee, all this stuff. I'm going to do it in March, Mondays, 9 a.m. I'll send some information out on that so that you guys can get some info on that. Last but not least, I'm going to show you one more tip and trick, and then we're going to go into Q&As, see if people will stick around for that sort of stuff. So I still have a few viewers online. Last thing that I'm going to show you, this is so cool. LinkedIn added it back in. They took it out. I went on a rant and a rave about this, but I'll tell you what, here's something that is awesome. So go to the search bar, click on search, and what comes up is people, and down the side, go into the keywords. What's your target demographic going after? So I'm just going to say lawyers. So punch that in, and then look at connections up. So my buddy Brian Manko is more than happy to give me referrals in. So this is what I would do with Brian is I would go in here and I'd say, hey, I see you're connected to 3 lawyers. So you're connected to Arthur Olson, Aaron Martins, and Ronald Gervitz. Look, you know that I service this market. I do this. Would you be able to make an introduction to any of these people? If so, I'll write a blurb for them. Brian would get back to me and say, hey, you know what? I can introduce you to Arthur and Aaron, but Ronald, I don't really know all that well, or something like that, right? So then I would just write a same blurb that I showed you earlier with a bit of information, and put that sort of information in there. And that is how you cram up your sales prospects on LinkedIn. So now I'm done. We got through that in about half an hour. I know that's a lot of information. I'm going to go into a Q&A session. If anyone has any questions, they can text me at 403-630-1243, or you can ask your questions down in the online box. I'm going to go into Facebook Live, see if I've got anyone there. Any questions you can write in there. Periscope, unfortunately, I can't answer your questions because you're off to the side, and I can't see what the questions are. But feel free to ask me any questions that you may have. I'm going to type down below and see if anyone wants to ask a question. Ask a question. There you go. Put it in there. Going to have another drink. By the way, I want to let everyone know that I am also doing a broadcast on Facebook Live on Friday on our Facebook channel, or our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/enter my invoice. I'm going to go through 12 ways to multiply your marketing. It's actually 13 ways, but I'd already done the graphics up for it and didn't have the time to fix it. But it's 12 ways plus one. Let's put it that way. 8:30 in the morning on Friday Mountain Standard Time. That's 10:30 Eastern. I'm going to show you 12 ways that you can take one piece of content and multiply it 12 different ways to reach a wider, broader audience on anything that you do. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to ask any questions. If I don't get any questions within within a minute here or so, I will probably turn this off. I'm going to put something up in the section. So wow, so I don't know if anyone sees. I'm going to show you guys with my camera here. I've got lights that I have, LED lights that show this. I've been told in the past that I'm too dark. I guess if I go back, oh my God, I'm too white now. Anyway, you can see my nice blue eyes. Goes with my shirt. If you have any questions, ask them in the chat. I'm just typing in the Facebook or in the Google Hangout section as well. And I'll tell you what, if no one has any questions, feel free to ask them after the fact. You can email me, chris@salestipaday.com, or what you can do is go to, or you can text me at 403-630-1243, and I'll be more than happy to answer them then. Tell you what, with that, no questions. I'll hang around for a bit. But I bid adieu. And hey, you know what? I'm very grateful. Thank you very much for showing up today. I know time is a valuable asset. Hopefully you learned enough to make it worth your while. Always appreciate feedback. So let me know, and we'll go from there. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thanks a ton.